So my first stick and poke is actually this one right here. It's a Wiccan symbol representing like the young woman, the pregnant woman, and the crone, also the beginning of like dawn, noon, and night, and really thinking about transitions at different point of life. So I really love this stick and poke, one, because I love the tattoo, but also how I got it.
I'm Eden, and I work in healthcare. I'm a medical assistant, so I'm that person that takes your blood pressure and everything when you come into the doctor's office. I started doing stick and pokes about 2 years ago now. I haven't really counted how many I've done, but I think at least around 40. Like, I started doing it with my partner. We would have a night where we'd like watch TV and stick and poke on each other. It was really fun. And then a few of my friends would see what I'd done, and they said, oh, I wanted to get this done or that done, and I'd say, okay, well, simplify it. I definitely had a learning curve while I was figuring out how to do the stick and pokes. The first other people I did them on were my sister and her partner. My sister has a very low pain tolerance, and she kept pulling her arm away, and they were just like freaking out over the pain. And then my partner did another one on me, and I realized how lightly they were going, and I realized that I was going way too hard, and my sister kind of won't let me live that down. My favorite is doing text for some reason. I really like drawing up the letters, and it's pretty straightforward when you do text because you can just do the simple line work. It doesn't get too complicated.
I would have to say probably that I like all of my tattoos. You know, even if I regretted getting it, they still meant something to me at one point or another in my life. So I do think that they're all pretty special. I think some of my favorites is definitely this one on my shoulder. It's an iris. I got it because I have a younger half sibling that was born a few years ago. She's like 7 now, and I'm in my mid-20s, so it is a little weird of a dynamic. But she brightened my life, and I helped pick her name, which is Iris, so I'm really proud of that tattoo and my little sibling. It was one of my first tattoos, so when I was going to get it, I wanted to try and make sure that I was able to give my money to someone who was marginalized and at least could relate to me a little bit, because it felt like it was important at the time because of how meaningful it was to me. So I was searching for folks of color and women mostly in the industry, and I found a woman in Berkeley, and she was able to really work with me, and I felt like she took what I wanted really seriously, and that she really put a lot of care into her work.
I'm fairly heavily tattooed now, and I realized as I got more tattoos that the experience of getting tattooed was a big thing for me. I also really like the experience of tattooing with a friend. You can kind of create a little memory and memento that you get to keep with you all the time. I've had a lot of experience where it's like a good bonding thing with in my friendships. One of my roommates, she had a really rough year, so she wanted a sort of self-care tattoo, and I was able to do a little heart that just says me inside of it. One of my best friends, right after a breakup, she came over, and like after decompressing, she, like how some people get their hair cut, you know, after a breakup or something, like need to change something, she always gets a tattoo. So I was able to kind of do it the same day with her, and I gave her some words. She did Lust to Love, a quote from a song she really liked.
I have one stick and poke. It is this little asterisk right here. One of my friends and I were trying to give each other stick and pokes, probably not in the most sanitary way. And they did a really bad job, so I had to go over it a few times, but theirs turned out really great. So we have a little matching asterisk tattoos on our arms. I think it meant something a lot different to me at the time. At the time we did it because we were both newly out as trans, and you know, there was a lot of talk about how trans asterisk is supposed to be more inclusive to trans folks. I wouldn't say that I see that the same way now. Things change and your opinions change, and I think that's okay. It still does symbolize transness for me though, and it's also cool to have that matching tattoo with somebody that I care about.
There's this woman in community who does stick and poke tattoos like affordably for queer and trans folks, and queer and trans folks of color very specifically. And I remember it was New Year's Day in 2017, and I'd hit her up a couple of days previously and was like, I want a tattoo. And she's like, cool, when? And I had said New Year's Day without actually realizing that was what it was. But we were in my home. She did my tattoo. My partner was there. Our dog was running around very concerned because she was just like, I don't understand what's happening. But for me, there was just something really beautiful about getting this tattoo, which is, I have many tattoos and was the one I feel like I sweat the hardest in. But like this way of like coming into the new year for something that I really felt I felt in process.
I tattooed myself. My first tattoo, I was like, oh, I'll just put a little asterisk. And it looked just like a weird blob. I hated it. And again, I was booking too hard, so it like didn't turn out well either. But I did another tattoo over it. This is my favorite one that I did on myself. It's a political quote, and I'm really active politically, and I really liked the message of it, and I think the lettering and the lines turned out really nicely. This one was one of my first ones. I had to go over it 3 times. I usually go like maybe once or twice, but again, it was one of my first ones. Again, it's another easy spot because it's like right by your face. It's really easy to get to, and the skin's not thin. And then these are all my friends. Again, one of the great things about stick and pokes is the experience. It's not always like that you're gonna turn out with the most beautiful piece of artwork. So like my sister's partner, she did this ghost and she cannot draw or do anything straight, but I love it because it's just like part of my little friend collection here.
My housemates give themselves stick and poke tattoos pretty regularly, and I live in a house with all trans folks, so it's been cool to see some of the reclamation of their bodies through stick and poke. You know, if you're doing it yourself, which I would like to try and do at some point, I think it can be a really intimate process, and I think, you know, it's an opportunity to make a meaningful connection to yourself when you're doing that. So I do envision myself trying to give my own stick and poke at some point in the future.
Another one I really like is my sister. Again, this was her first one, and it was a little bone she put there after I first adopted my dog, my baby. I've got my ACAB tattoo by my best friend, so we both have our little burning police car pins as well. This one's more recent, and this one's just funny because I liked the show Twin Peaks. First I did the line work around it and then used a different kind of needle to fill in. And then for a while I had a really patchy big tattoo and had to go back in with another liner. Whenever I tell people it's a stick and poke, they're like, what? So it turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it. This little spider web, you can't see it as well anymore, but the really ugly asterisk that I wasn't happy with. I put the little broken heart because my dad passed away. So again, they're kind of cool for creating like something for yourself or a memento or something. So.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna get some more, but there's something for me about like that very, very personal engagement and touch that's very different from other processes of tattooing I've had.